Hello, I'm Buddy Hardigree with the Region 8 Sports Report, coming to you this week from Johnson of Gainesville, where the Johnson Knights have defeated Madison County by a score of 17-0. We'll have the highlights on this game, and we'll have the scores from all the games in Region 8 coming up on this edition of Region 8 Sports Report. Hello, for the Region 8 Sports Report, I'm Buddy Hardigree. We are at Johnson High School, home of the Johnson Knights. The Knights defeated Madison County by a score of 17-0 here tonight. And we're going to look at those highlights here in just a second. Also, we'll take a look at some scores from all across Region 8. Not a lot of action. A lot of teams were off this night, but there were some games in Region 8, and we'll take a look at the scores and all of them. And we'll take a look at some of the stats maybe from some of those games. And, of course, we've got the highlights from the Madison County Johnson football game. And we'll start off with those, and then we'll have the rest of the stuff for you this week on the Region 8 Sports Report. Let's start off with the highlights of the Madison County Johnson Knights football game. And this is how we start the 2015 football season. The opening kickoff between Madison County and Johnson High School, taken by Darian Bunch, and he returns it back to the 36-yard line where he's brought down. But they can't move the ball, so Johnson punts it away. Now watch when the ball comes down. It appears to have been touched by Madison County and then recovered by Johnson. But the official says, nope, first 10 for Madison County, rather. However, they can't move the ball, so Johnson takes it back anyway. And they start off with this big run by Cody Long for 24 yards. And Johnson's drive then starts to stall out. So Madison County takes over deep in their own territory, barely averting a safety right here when running back Keith Gant's caught and brought down just outside the end zone. But on the next play, they get out of the hole. A 31-yard pass again to Gant. I know, bad camera work, my fault, but believe me, he did catch the ball. And it's 1st and 10. But on the next play, quarterback is picked off by Johnson, and the Knights go back on offense. A few plays later, Cody Long pushes 2 yards into the end zone, and Johnson takes their first points of the year. Starting off the 2015 season, the PAT is good, and Johnson leads 7-0 with 2:46 to go in the first half. Madison County moving now with Sam Bartlett picking up 16 yards on this carry. Then a pass from David Metz to Keith Gant for 16 yards, but watch as he drops the ball at the end of the play. And Johnson goes back on offense. So here come the Knights. Sam Corbett pass to Orion Pittman for 26 yards after tipping it off of a Madison County player. Then a screen pass from Corbett to Cody Long for 14 yards. Then Corbett hits Chandler Barkley for 11 yards down to the 9-yard line. Time starting to run out here. So with time running out, they kick a field goal. A 27-yard field goal to take a 10-0 lead into the locker room. So at the half, it is Johnson leading by a score of 10-0. Fourth quarter, Victor Pittman picks his way through the secondary for 19 yards. Then the freshman quarterback, Sam Corbett, decides to put some points on the board himself with this 29-yard run and let the post-touchdown celebration begin. The PAT is good, and Johnson is up 17-0 with only 54 seconds to go in the third quarter. Madison County keeps coming, though. They move the ball down to the 5-yard line. And this pass from David Metz to Sam Bartlett. He caught the pass, but he was just out of bounds. So on 4th and goal, they go for the touchdown. But they lose the handle on the ball, and it comes loose. And the ball bounces on the ground, and the clock runs down, and that is the end of the game. Johnson defeated Madison County by a score of 17-0. This Friday night, Johnson will be traveling to their arch rival West Hall, and Madison County will host Jackson County. And with that, now it's time to take a break. So when we come back, we'll take a look at the rest of the scores from around Region 8, and we'll also, later on in the program, take a look at who's playing who coming up this Friday night and Saturday night in the Region 8 Sports Report. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Region 8 Sports Report. Just a half an hour with us each week, and you are caught up with everything that's going on in Region 8 as far as scores, standings, and schedules, and everything. We got you covered. Let's take a look at some of the scores from last Friday and Saturday night. Most of these games were played on Friday. Starting off in Region 8, 6A, North Paulding and Archer. Archer, a big win by a score of 49-21. It was Newton County over Berkmar by a score of 46-12. Tequila defeated Collins Hill 36-22, and it was Walton over South Gwinnett very comfortably 49-17. Games on Saturday night, it was Mill Creek over Brookwood 45-7, and it was Parkview over McCallie of Chattanooga, Tennessee by a score of 18-13. A very tough, close game there. Going to Region 8 5A, starting with the games played on Friday night. It was Rockdale County over Heritage by a score of 27-21. And Lanier Longhorns trailed 7-0 early in the game, but came back to defeat Lambert High School by a score of 17-7. And now go to the games of Region 8 4A. First of all, the games played on Friday night. Buford Wolves got a pick-six touchdown from R.J. Walker late in the game to hold on to a 27-20 win over Eastern Christian School. I think that was maybe a little bit closer than they wanted it to be there. Other games in Region 8 4A, it was Madison County and Johnson. Of course, Johnson winning that game by a score of 17-0. The highlights we saw here just a few moments ago. And the game on Saturday night, it was Coffee County over North Oconee by a score of 39-0. Games of 8 AAA, it was Hebron Christian Academy over East Jackson by a score of 21-13. Colby Wood ran 29 carries for 258 yards to lead the Jefferson Dragons to a 19-7 win over Rabun County. Rabun County and Jefferson, it was 19-7. Jefferson the winner there. In Region 8 AA, it was, the same score, Jefferson and Rabun County, because Jefferson, of course, is in AAA, and Rabun County, of course, in AA. Let's take a look now at the scores in Region 8A, 8 single A, from last weekend. It was Glasscock County and Athens Academy, a big win for Athens Academy. They defeated Glasscock County by a score of 49-0. It was Athens Christian over Rock Strong Christian by a score of 31-21. And East Jackson, as we've already talked about, East Jackson playing against Hebron Christian. Hebron Christian wins by a score of 21-13. That gets us up to date on all the scores from last Friday and Saturday night, so we're up to date on all of last week's scores. And we're going to take another break here on the Region 8 Sports Report. When we come back, we're going to take a look at all the upcoming games scheduled for August 28th and 29th. So we'll see what's on tap for this weekend. Coming up next on the Region 8 Sports Report. Welcome back to the Region 8 Sports Report, where every week you get caught up with everything going on in Region 8 from 6A all the way down to 1A. And speaking of which, let's take a look at the schedules coming up, the games that are scheduled for coming up this weekend, Friday, August 28th and Saturday, August the 29th. Now, before we get started here, I want to point out that you may see some of these games mentioned more than one time. And the reason for that is a team in Region 8 6A may be playing a team in Region 8 4A, in which case the game would be mentioned in the 6A category and the 4A category. So you may see a game mentioned more than one time. Just thought I'd point that out for you. Starting off with Region 8 6A, it will be Berkmar traveling to Buford to take on the Wolves. Norcross will be at Brookwood. Collins Hill at Central Gwinnett. Grayson will be traveling up to take on Gainesville. Parkview will be at Mountain View, and Shiloh will be at Hill Grove. A game on Saturday, August the 29th, Archer will be traveling to Peachtree Ridge. Decula and South Gwinnett will be taking the night off. In Region 8 5A, Woodland High School from Stockbridge, Georgia, will be coming up to Barrow County to play the Appalachia Wildcats. Elbert County will be traveling into Cedar Shoals. Clark Central at Hart County. Chestatee takes on Flowery Branch. Grayson will be at Gainesville. Loganville at Monroe area. Rockdale County will be at Salem. And Winder Barrow will be at Jefferson, just across the Mulberry River there. That'll be the Battle of Mulberry. And Heritage and Lanier are taking the nights off. Let's take a look at the schedule now for Region 8 Quad A, or 8-4A. Berkmar will be at Buford, as we've already mentioned that game, since that's one of the classification crossover games. Buford, of course, coming off of that close game last week. It'll be interesting to see how they do against Berkmar this weekend. Chestatee will be at Flowery Branch. Johnson of Gainesville, who we just saw in the highlights earlier, will be traveling across the county to face their arch rival West Hall coming up this Friday night. And the other team we saw in the previews earlier tonight was Madison County. They will be hosting Jackson County coming up this Friday night. Loganville will travel over to Monroe area. GAC, or Greater Atlanta Christian, will be at North Oconee. Franklin County will be traveling over to Stevens County to take on the Indians. And White County will be at Pickens County. North Hall will be taking the night off. In Region 8 AAA, East Jackson will travel over to Lakeview Academy. Elbert County will be into Athens to play Cedar Shoals. Clark Central, the other Athens team, will be in Hartwell to take on Hart County. Jackson County will be at Madison County, as we've already mentioned, and Winder Barrow will be at Jefferson, another game we've already mentioned. Morgan County will travel to Jones County. And the Battle of the OCs, Oconee County and Oglethorpe County. That'll be coming up this Friday night as well. And 8AA, Greene County will be traveling over to take on Putnam County. Oconee County and Oglethorpe, we've already mentioned that one. Raven County will be at Habersham Central. Fellowship Christian Academy will travel over to Riverside Military Academy. Strong Rock, and I've got to figure out whether that's Strong Rock Academy or Rock Strong Academy. I've seen it three different ways here. Anyway, they'll be playing Social Circle coming up this Friday night. Towns County will be at Union County, and Leakin County at Washington Wilkes. Now the games coming up in Class 8A, Region 8A, Single A, that is. The games that we have coming up this weekend, big game coming up in Athens this Friday night. It'll be Athens Academy at Athens Christian, two arch rivals, and they will be facing each other coming up this Friday night. Commerce Tigers, the black and gold, will be traveling over to Banks County to take on the Leopards, so you'll have Tigers and Leopards on Friday night. Hapeville will be traveling to George Walton Academy. East Jackson High School will be at Lakeview Academy. I think we've already mentioned that one. Prince Avenue Christian School will be hosting Aquinas coming up Friday night. It'll be St. Francis at Providence Christian School, and Towns County will be at Union County. Again, another game that we've already mentioned, a classification crossover game there. One game coming up on Saturday, August the 29th in Class A, and that is Hebron Christian Academy will be at Mount Vernon. And those are all the games that are scheduled coming up on Friday night. And if you think about it, that's a lot of games. It looks like almost everybody is going to be playing. There are 2, 3, maybe 3 or 4 teams that are off this weekend, but otherwise everybody's going to be playing this Friday night. Anyway, that's the schedules for everybody coming up for this weekend, and we'll take a break. We'll come back and wrap it up for you and put a nice little bow on top and everything like that. So we'll be right back with more on the Region 8 Sports Report. Welcome back to the Region 8 Sports Report. As we said, we're going to wrap it up for you. We've gone over the games that are coming up this weekend. We looked at the scores from last weekend, and we still got a little time left, so you're in for a treat. In place of having more football highlights, we were hoping to have a couple of game highlights left for you. But since we don't have that, we do have some marching bands for you. So we'll go out in style. We'll be leaving you with two marching bands, Johnson High Marching Band and the Madison County Red Raider Band, and that'll round up the show for us this week. So be sure and join us again next week for the Region 8 Sports Report.
Treat. Presenting their 2015 show titled United, the Sounds of America. The selections include America the Beautiful, James Brown's Living in America, Jay-Z's Made in America, and God Bless the USA under the direction of T.I. Brunson. Enjoy. the People Club. Madison County High School Red Raider Band. Tonight they will be presenting their 2015 competition show entitled Haunted. The director is Aaron Morgan. Drum majors are Andrew Tyson, Leah Starver, and Bailey Poole. Drum majors, is your band ready? You may take the field for performance.
Welcome back.
director of